If a person has their already listening going full bore, it's going to be difficult to get through to them. Emotional modulation. I called in the 7 fitness areas, I called the emotional area the gateway to the right side being those things we want: health, wealth, love, and happiness. I have relationships, professional, financial, but it's essentially those things we want. It's the things that marketers and advertisers go after us to let's buy more of this thing. I call it the gateway because it's so easy to lose what you've done by getting triggered. So this here is that potential for hijacking. Most people have been hijacked. We've certainly seen people get hijacked. We've seen it happen in YouTube videos. I think without going too deep down that rabbit hole, I think a lot of the situations where you see police officers acting aggressively with citizens, I think it's happening both ways. I think the citizen is getting triggered, and I think that's triggering the police officer, and then they have this just escalates, and neither one of them can come back down. And like the police officer saying stop resisting, and the person saying I'm not resisting, but they're in fight or flight, freeze or faint. They don't realize that they're tense, they're locked up, and their adrenaline is pumping. And I think both sides need training to understand what's going on. And so de-escalation is not a mental exercise. De-escalation is a physiological exercise, because your neurons are off and running. And I like to look at the network of neurons like a mob, and they're off and running, and then they're telling other people, and there's more people coming, and the mob is getting bigger and bigger, and it's out of control. And you can actually see that happening. So we don't want this hijacking to occur. And that's where we're going next, with the emotional part. So in the emotional, we have, and I call it modulation versus regulation. So regulation would be like a thermostat. You can adjust it up and down. You can just make it whatever you want to make it. But modulation is specifically adjusting your emotions in such a way that you're going to be optimized for whatever the situation you're in. In her book, Dr. Joan Rosenberg, the name of the book is 90 Seconds to a Life You'll Love. And she says that these 8 negative emotions, everything can be distilled into one of these 8. So you take all the possible negative emotions, and these 8 labels actually address them. And the reason she does that is important. So there's a challenge. If you take this conversation away and you just look at feeling bad, and then we call that anxiety. So many things could be anxiety. As a matter of fact, excitement and anxiety have a very similar signature.